With Brilliant Stars a week away and Pokemon TCG Live just around the corner, now's the time to be starting to pick up some of those cards that you could use in the standard format. And I'll tell you what, Rapid Strike Malamar is actually a very, very strong choice right now. It might even be a Tier 1 deck going into the Brilliant Stars format, so definitely worth picking them up if you haven't already. Malamar, a Stage 1 Psychic type Pokemon with 120 HP, has the attack Rapid Strike Tentacles. For 1 Psychic Energy, it does 40 damage times the amount of Rapid Strike cards that you have in your hand, and then you shuffle those cards into your deck. Now you can choose the amount that you want to use. Obviously your opponent doesn't know the amount of Rapid Strike cards that you have in your hand until you show them, but it can potentially deal some massive damage. 320 is not out of the question for Malamar. This deck's really, really good because not only is it super powerful, but it only runs 1 prize Pokemon. There are no Vs, no GXs, no VMAXs, no V-Stars, nothing like that in the list. In fact, we are supported by 2 really, really good support Pokemon. The first is Make Do Cinccino, a very, very strong support Pokemon. It discards a card from your hand of your choice, and then you draw 2 cards, which can be very, very good in expanding your hand size. And then we also have the Rapid Strike Octillery. Rapid Strike Search means that once per turn, you can go into your deck and grab out a Rapid Strike card of your choice. Now, you can only use 1 Octillery ability per turn, but it's usually pretty handy, and I would definitely recommend utilizing them. It should be worth noting as well that when Brilliant Stars comes out, you don't necessarily need to add any new Pokemon for this deck to be as good as it currently is. The only one you might want to include is Manaphy, which will stop this deck falling prey to decks like Jolteon and also Rapid Strike Urshifu. Very, very solid list, this one. This particular list comes out of the 27th Late Night Series from Zach Lesage. This list was played by Lapadula TCG. Just have to look that up to make sure that I didn't say it incorrectly. Thank you very much for that particular list. What we'll do is we'll take it out onto the standard ladder, see if we can't play some games with it. Alrighty, let's get started with some games, and this deck is really easy to set up. All we need to do is make sure that, realistically, we only get 1 of each of our basic Pokemon in play. That will allow us to do the job, and a card that, well, I mean, we just top-decked into Inkay, but a card that would normally help us do that is actually VIP Battle Pass. A really, really good card. You've seen it before in decks like Mew, etc. I really like it. I think I'm going to go for an Inkay and a Minccino here. We'll try and get as many copies of these cards down as we possibly can. A very, very powerful opening card, and I'm going to play Korrina's Focus here. Try and draw some more cards, but not necessarily get rid of that Ordinary Rod, which is a very important card in this deck. We're up against a Hooper list. I have no idea what this is going to look like, but honestly, we can expect to be playing against a number of 2-prize decks going forward, so there's a reason to play against Hooper here. If you want to play this list, by the way, it's down in the description. If you want to copy that into PTCGO, you're more than welcome to. And whilst you're there, if you could leave a like on the video and subscribe, that would be great as well. Also, news today. There is going to be a Pokemon TCG Live beta for Canadian players starting on the 22nd of February. If you're watching this after that particular date, then it's already happening. But for those of us living in the 3 or 4 days after this deck list gets revealed, there is a beta coming up. So I suspect that we're going to be seeing that particular program coming to us very, very shortly. Hopefully within, hopefully for Brilliant Stars release, honestly. We've just top-decked into another research, so it's a little bit disappointing, but we do have a number of good cards in our hand. I'm going to go for a Cinccino here, and then also a Malamar with our Evolution Incense. We'll throw that Malamar into the active, and then we can chuck Cinccino onto the bench. We can also go for a Fog Crystal here, grab a Psychic Energy and attach that to our active. We're now ready to go. We may as well use the Ordinary Rod. We're about to discard it, and then we will use one of the 3 Oaks Research in our hand and see what we can come up with. We're in a very interesting position here. We kind of want to try to take a knockout on this Hooper that has 270 HP, which is simply preposterous, the amount of HP that this has. Let's grab a Cinccino with the Level Ball. And then we'll start making do. We'll get rid of the Fog Crystal. Don't really need that. That Malamar, actually we should hold on to it because we might need it for later. We can go for a Evo Incense. We'll grab a Octillery. I don't mind playing that one down because we can just turn that into another Rapid Strike card, and then we'll make do again, I think. We'll get rid of the Scoop Up Net, not necessarily necessary, which is alright. Let's Rapid Strike Search. We'll go for a Octillery here. That's just going to be shuffled back into the deck for damage. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times 4 is a pretty solid amount of damage. Is 6 times 4 enough? I don't think it is. I think we might need a little bit more. Let's go for an Inkay here with the Fog Crystal. And then we'll Rapid Strike Tentacles. We're going to go 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. That's not right. 20. Oh, I mean, I think I've done the maths right here. That's enough. 28 is 28? Is that the number? Oh, I did the maths right. That's not something that I'm normally used to. But you can see on turn 2, we just did 280 damage. If we were playing in the Brilliant Stars format, then we are looking at a knockout on an Arceus as early as our second turn of the game. So, very, very powerful. And we obviously get access to way more search cards out of Brilliant Stars. There's Ultra Ball coming, plus there's also Choice Band if you choose to play it. You don't necessarily have to, but definitely an interesting choice. You know, it's looking like this deck could be a genuine threat going forward. It's difficult for Mew to beat. It can beat it, but it's very tough. And decks like Duraludon, which would theoretically have a good matchup against it, do often lose because of the extra copies of Ordinary Rod. So, very, very good deck. Very nice. Very enjoyable to play. I've thoroughly enjoyed playing it on the ladder so far. Hopefully this game is relatively good for us and can show it off. But honestly, getting that 280 on the second turn, that's pretty good. I mean, we can't ask for more than that, realistically. If we hit one more Rapid Strike card there, we are looking at a knockout on any VMAX in the game, as long as they aren't resistant to Psychic, or they aren't over 320 HP. Actually, there's a lot that have 330 HP, thinking about it. It gets a knockout on many of the V-Stars in the game. Not all of them. Not all of them. If you could just list all of the ones that you could potentially get in the comments, that would be great. I'm about to cough. Oh, goodness. Not ideal. Okay, so they are going for a Rotom Phone here. It looks like this is kind of a fusion box featuring Hooper V. Not a bad card at the moment, and definitely a card that's worth picking up. And that Dark typing obviously good against Mew, but it also has an ability which turns it Psychic as well, which is very useful against decks like a Rapid Strike and Single Strike Urshifu. Both very, very useful. Obviously, Malamar being Psychic type as well has relatively good matchups against those. It looks like they're actually just going to throw down an Oricorio here, so we're being gifted an opportunity. We're not necessarily too worried here. I'm going to make do since the Oricorio is in the active, and I can guarantee pretty much that I'm going to get access to enough to knock out this Oricorio. We're just going to play it nice and slow, nice and safe. We'll go with the make do. We will get rid of the Minccino that we've just drawn out of the deck. And then we can utilize one of the Rescue Carriers to put 2 Pokemon from our discard pile with 90 HP or less into our hand. So that's very, very nice. Also use Rapid Strike Search with our Octillery. We'll grab out a Remoraid. That's just going to get shuffled back into the deck. We only need 3 cards here to go back in. So we'll go Octillery, Octillery, Remoraid. That seems fine. That's going to be, what, 120 damage minus 20 because of the Oricorio's ability. 100, clean knockout. Nicely done. Now, it's not good, because, I mean, we don't get 2 prizes. We are still going to need to take 2 knockouts to win this game, but it's a nice little buffer turn. We don't need to go too hard, so we didn't. We just played it smart. We just did the intelligent thing. Every now and then you need to do that. But next turn, we are going to need to hit 280, and it's going to be tough. And it looks like they're going to use Boss's Orders here. Interesting choice. They're going for the Octillery, so we won't have access to Rapid Strike Search, which is not ideal, but it is worth noting that the Malamar is still in play. We still have the energy, so there's cards that we don't need to find. And again, that's something that's really good about this Malamar deck, is that even when your opponent targets something down and tries to knock it out, unless it's your only Inkay in play, you can usually come back from it. So as long as you've got a board state that's similar to this, maybe the Minccino's another copy of Octillery or Remoraid, but as long as your board is relatively similar, you'll probably have enough juice to get out of the situation that you're in. And I think that is a really, really good sign for a deck when it can get targeted down, but you can still come back from it. Very, very nice. So here's Hooper. So Hooper's going to be hitting into this Octillery and knocking it out. Shadow Impact deals 170 damage and then 30 damage to one of your Pokemon. So they'll probably put those on the Genesect, considering they've got Crystal Cave. That will heal that damage off. Looks like we've got a pretty long turn happening here, which is fair enough. I like the idea of Hooper, by the way, with Genesect. Obviously, it does ask for a little bit more energy, which means that Elisa is probably a little bit more important, but it's still pretty good. And the Turbo Patch is quite an interesting inclusion as well. So, yeah, that head's getting that energy on there. So, a little bit riskier, giving you a couple of tight coverages, and it does have the advantage of hitting weakness against the best deck in the format. So, you can't complain about that at all. There is the Shadow Impact, dealing 200 damage thanks to the copy of Turbo Power Charge? Turbo Charge Power? Charge Power. Electro Power, but for Fusion Strike Pokemon. Okay, we've managed to draw into a Remoraid here, which is fantastic. We are going to go for a Cinccino, and then we're going to start making do, I think. Actually, we probably should have just researched, but it doesn't matter. We're committed now. We need to get to 280, and it is not looking likely at this point. We can go for the Rescue Carrier. That can put two, or only one, sorry. I forgot that it doesn't get Octillery. We can put one Rapid Strike Pokemon into our hand, then we'll Cinccino away the Battle Pass. There is 5. Now, we need 8, I think, to get 280. 320? No. I don't think we're going to hit here. Maths is hard. I'm just going to click all the buttons. Actually, no, it's probably not. No, we should just hit it. We're just going to hit all the buttons. We're going to hit all the buttons? We should probably not hit all the buttons. We're not going to get a knockout, we're just going to keep a couple. So we'll put a few Pokemon back into the deck and we'll keep a few in our hand. We'll deal half the damage. We know that our opponent can never win the game before us as long as we can attack 2 more times. So they need to take 4 knockouts, we need to take 2. They can never win the game unless we whiff an attack. So I think it's intelligent to sit there and get access to the Octillery next turn. We can use the Octillery to evolve the Remoraid, we can evolve the Malamar into the Inkay, and then we can research and do what I probably should have done last turn. But to be honest, I'm okay with it. It's not that big of a problem. We've got the opportunity, we've got the single strike Pokemon, the single prize Pokemon, sorry, which means we can never realistically fall behind, especially against Hooper. So I'm feeling pretty solid here. And again, all of these cards are relatively cheap. Cinccinos, Octilleries, Malamars, all only uncommons or rares, so very easy to find. And presuming that PTCG Live is as good as something like Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, we should be able to get access to them really, really easily. So I'm very excited about that. Hopefully, we can get a little bit more information about it very, very soon so that we can see what it's going to look like. I'm trusting our Canadian brethren will come across with that pretty quickly. Now, we're about to lose another Remoraid here, which is not ideal, but again, they've not knocked out the Malamar, so we don't need to find an energy this turn. It's not ideal, but we'll see what we can do. We're going to try and get that 280 damage one more time. So, let's go. We're going to draw a card. Korrina's Focus is a little bit disappointing to draw into here. We will probably go for the research straight up, get rid of that and draw a fresh hand of 7 cards, and there is a lot to like here. We should probably wait, actually. This Remoraid is not necessarily important just yet. Let's get rid of these VIP Battle Passes. We're going to trade that away. We're going to trade the second one away as well. That's why they're not necessarily bad in this particular deck, because you can just get rid of them. We are going to make do, again, getting rid of a Level Ball. We've drawn into a couple of good cards there. We will play down the Remoraid, I think, and then we can start thinking about how we're actually going to get this knockout. And I mean, we can Level Ball. Level Ball will be able to search for a Pokemon for us. Inkay is pretty good. We can go for, what do you got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6. Is there a way that we can get this? I mean, we could go for the Scoop Up Net or something like that. I'm not sure if we even really need to. I think just putting a half hit of damage onto this Hooper is probably enough. I think we just go for the attack. We'll go 4, 8, 12, 16. Oh, hang on, 20, 24? No, we're just short. 24. Yeah, so that's going to be just short. I should have just scooped up the Remoraid, probably. Or the Malamar. I could have even just scooped up the Malamar and put the Inkay back down. Oh well, doesn't matter. 240 damage. Again, we should be fine. I bigged myself up really early with the maths. I was like, I got the maths right. And then it was now. It's alright, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We've still got damage on both of the attacking hoopers that we are looking at. So that is good. And a better player than me would have been one prize away from winning the game, which is, you know, it's fine. It's whatever. We don't worry about it. Ordinary Rod in hand is good. Fog Crystal in hand is good. That'll find us another energy if they knock one out. But it looks like our opponent is just going to continue to target down Remoraids. They do not want these Octilleries in play. And you know what? Fair enough. It's a pretty difficult Pokemon to deal with. So they're going to Shadow Impact that again. They need 2 attacks to win the game. And now we need 2 attacks as well. So from here on out, we cannot afford to miss. Luckily, our opponent only has 40 HP left, so we are definitely getting a knockout this turn. It's just a matter of how we go about it. Let's Fog Crystal here. We'll grab one of those Inkays back. That is our card that we're going to need to take the knockout. Then I think we will go for the Ordinary Rod. We'll chuck a couple of Pokemon and a couple of energies back into the deck. I like the idea of an Octillery. Actually, let's just go with 2 Remoraid. Doesn't matter. We're only going to use them to shuffle in from here. And then we can make do. We'll discard the Scoop Up Net, which maybe should have been played last turn. Oh, that's brutal. We're going to make do. We're going to get rid of the Psychic Energy and see what we draw into. There's another Spiral Energy. We could probably afford to get rid of one of them, right? Surely. Let's play down the Remoraid and then get rid of a Spiral Energy. Draw some more cards is a real possibility. We only have 9 cards in deck, though. Maybe it's just worth... Oh, God. Maybe it's just worth attacking. Well, I think we just attack. We're just going to discard... Well, not discard. We're just going to return one of those Spiral Energies back to the deck. We'll take 2 prizes, and we'll see what we draw off of those. I'm just concerned, because we don't play Boss's Orders in this particular version of the deck, so it is difficult to take knockouts on things that don't come into the active, and they have elected to go for the Genesect here. Now, it has slightly less HP, only 240, which is good for us, but we do need to be careful. We do need to be really careful, because we could very easily whiff this knockout, and assuming that our opponent attacks this turn, they will be one KO away from winning the game. Although, to be fair, they only have 4 cards left. There's no guarantee that they even have any energy left. Now that I'm looking at this, we might be just guaranteed to win. They have to go into the Hooper. Alright, so at this stage, I am 99% sure that we are guaranteed to win. Going into that Hooper means that we only need to hit a fraction of the cards that we would have had to do before. I think it is 3, but I don't trust my maths. So I'm going to draw as many cards as I can, and we're going to try and take as big a knockout as possible. So Cinccino, get rid of a Cinccino. Let's Cinccino and get rid of a Tower of Waters. All of the cards in our hand are Rapid Strike anyway. Then we will get rid of just another Rapid Strike card. It doesn't matter which one. And we will draw into 2 more cards. All of these cards in our hand are Rapid Strike. So we can Rapid Strike Tentacles and get rid of every single one. And that'll deal a ton of damage. I'm not entirely sure exactly how much, but it's certainly enough to take a knockout on Hooper. Hey, 320. It's enough to knock out pretty much every VMAX in the game, I assume. So there you have it, Malamar, very, very strong. Obviously, you need to know how to do maths, and personally, I don't. These people over here, however, they probably know how to do maths. They've certainly got the skills to do it. They are my channel members. Thank you very much for your support over the last few weeks, and hopefully you're enjoying the videos. If you'd like to join and become a member too, then there's a join button down below that you can click. That would be fantastic. Support the channel, $3 a month. It's less than a coffee, which is fantastic. I mean, I don't drink coffee, but I assume that's the price. Anyway, over here, there is a video that I think you should click on. This deck is probably going to be a pretty good one as well, going into the new standard format. Arceus, obviously, is going to be a big deal, but this could be good. You should look at this. You should look at this deck. I reckon you'll enjoy it. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye.